Okay, this video is going to be about signalling and whether it's necessary to signal. We should know by now that generally when we're turning left or right at junctions, we should always signal. But that's not what we're talking about here. So it's quite unrelated basically. Here in this video, we're talking about whether it's necessary to signal and how a bad signal could mislead other road users. So it's about when to signal in the right places and the right circumstances. So let's have a look at this situation here. So we've got the bus up ahead, parked up at the bus stop, and we're following up in the left lane. So we see there's two lanes here. Okay, we've got the left lane and the right lane all going in that direction. Okay, so to get round this bus, would a signal be necessary? So the question to ask is, if I'm going to change speed or direction, am I going to affect anybody around me? In this scenario, the most likely answer is yes. The reason is because although you're following up in the left lane, in order to get round this bus, you're going to need to move into the right lane. So you've got people probably coming up in the right lane with you, following. Now they're probably going to be looking well past you and well past the bus, because as far as they're concerned, the lane is clear. Their lane is clear. So they may put their foot down to get past you. So in that scenario then, what we'd need to do is we'd need to check our interior mirror and right mirror. We need to signal right, and we need to make sure we're staying in our lane, staying in the centre of our lane, and give way to any vehicles in the right lane, because the obstruction here is on our side of the road. It's in our lane. So we can't just carry on, no signal, and move into this lane, because we're most likely going to affect people badly following us up in the right lane. So is a signal necessary here in this situation? Yes, it is, because we're changing lanes and we're going to affect vehicles around us. And also it's good to let them know exactly what our intentions are. And in this scenario, it would not be misleading. So let's have a look at another situation. So in this situation, we've got this big vehicle here parked up on the left, unloading or loading, doing something like that. And we can see that the road up ahead is narrowing, so we're probably going to have to move into that middle lane a little bit, maybe just not middle lane, middle of the lane, maybe encroaching onto the other side of the road a little bit. Okay. This is a big vehicle, as I've stated. You can see he's nearly in line with the side of the middle of that lamppost and lined up with the top of that sign. So a big vehicle in front of us would most likely mean that if there's any vehicles behind us, then they should also be able to see what's going on past us, if you like. Yeah. So in this situation, if we signal, is it going to affect anybody badly? Is it going to mislead anybody? So if you look at this picture, or this image that we have in front of us here, can you see any problems with a right signal to get around that truck? There's a road on the right. Yeah, so a signal here would most likely mislead people behind you to think, oh yeah, okay, you're going down that road, and then when you don't, you just continue straight on. Then most likely people are going to be a bit annoyed, because they're like, well, why are you doing that? You know, I could see what you were trying to do with that lorry, and now you just totally misled me. So in this scenario, you're in a single lane situation, not a double lane, not a dual carriageway like the last one. Single lane, you should be leading the traffic behind you should be following you. So again, in this scenario, we don't need a signal. Okay, a signal may be necessary if something's going on behind you, to the right of you, to your blind spot. Maybe, I don't know, there might be like a motorbike sitting in your blind spot, and you might just want to tell him, look, I really need to come out, you know, you better be ready for me to move over to the right a little bit. In that scenario, that might be okay, but generally speaking, it shouldn't be necessary. So a little further up as well, even if this road wasn't here, a little further up there is a roundabout. So again, people may think you're signalling for the roundabout to say, oh, you're going right, and then suddenly when you don't go right, or you cancel your signal and do something else, again, other vehicles are going to be misled. So let's have a look at this video clip. He's driving along. If I just stop the video there. So as you look up ahead, you can see there's a parked vehicle on the left and a parked vehicle on the right. So is a signal necessary here? Again, he's in a single lane situation. He's leading the traffic. And we're positioned behind this vehicle here, so we can actually see beyond him, can't we? And we can see that there's a parked vehicle there and there, and we can see what he should be intending to do. So if he signalled now, we're probably going to think, well, we've seen some houses over the left here, we're probably going to think that he's pulling into a driveway. There might be a road there. I mean, we can't see it from here. He might be pulling up on the right. So there's all sorts of other reasons that we could think he's signalling right, other than to get round these parked cars. So let's run the video and see if he signals or not. And if I just stop it there, we can actually see there's a little driveway into this estate here. So a signal again would have misled us into thinking he's turning into that estate, but yeah, you can see he just carries on, and that's the right way to do it. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So as he goes around the corner, you can see something's parked up, big vehicle again on the left. Let's see if he signals to get round. So again, he's looked beyond him, he's seen it's safe, and again, if he'd signalled, there's a road there, yeah, just on the right, so it could have been dangerous if he'd signalled at that point. So as I mentioned, occasionally there might be a situation where you really do have to signal because the situation dictates it. So what we've got here is this vehicle here has moved quite far to the left, because you can see the road's very narrow and he's being restricted from continuing by this parked car, and there is actually a car coming opposite. So because he's so far to the left, and there's a vehicle about to approach him, we can see the vehicle behind in the mirror there. If you really feel like it's necessary to let the vehicle behind know what your intentions are, or maybe even the vehicles in front, then a signal would be okay. So let's run the video and see what he does. Yep, so he's popped his signal on. Let's check these mirrors first. There's a vehicle coming towards him. I see the road's very narrow, so he could look like he's parked. He's so far to the left. And he's gone round, but he's going to keep that signal on for as long as necessary, because again, there's a road just there. So, I mean, the signal should have cancelled by itself by now. But yeah, he's got going and now it's safe. Okay, so I hope you found that useful as to knowing when to signal and when it's necessary, and take that forward to your real life driving lessons, and I'll see you again in the next video.